Welcome to the presentation on the reorganization of the Urbanopolis Human Resources Department for fiscal year 07-08, based upon the reduction in force that is being implemented citywide. This summary will organize not only why these changes were being made, but how our team has made the changes to ensure a lower budget and a more streamlined process for next year. To make this transition process as smooth and easy as possible, I put together a committee of the leadership that you see before you to organize our compared notes and thoughts on the process so that it is fair and balanced and that any legal ramifications are considered for the department as a whole. In order to fully understand the changes being made to the HR department's budget, we must first understand the standards behind the reduction in force policies. A number of reasons exist for organizations who face the need for a reduction in force policy. These include budget considerations, programming needs, system-wide reorganizations, and mergers or takeovers. When implementing a reduction in force policy, organizations should consider the financial impacts these policies will have on the organization as a whole. While the overall goal may be to reduce impacts on the budget, other financial claims can result and negatively impact the reductions to the budget. Therefore, all financial impacts should be considered before embarking on this path. It should also be known that before the implementation of the employment of the RIF policy, our department is looking at other options provided by voluntary attrition programs to see if the needs of our staff can be met in this manner to ensure a smooth transition process. Some voluntary attrition programs include early retirement options, job sharing, work furloughs, or even a hiring freeze or voluntary layoffs before final layoffs. In addition to implementing any possible voluntary attrition programs, as well as identifying all financial considerations for our department during this RIF implementation, our department will also make sure that all legal requirements are followed in implementing such a policy. This includes ensuring that all pensions and benefit plans are set, that all liabilities are considered, all notice requirements are made in good time, and that we follow legal issues such as COBRA and union issues. The final consideration our transition team took was to ensure that any transitions we were making would avoid any wrongful discharge claims from the staff who were being moved to another department or out of the system entirely. This included making sure that our program and our department followed through with policies that would not show discrimination, including non-discriminatory race, age, and gender decisions. In order to ensure the smoothest transition possible for our employees who are being affected by these changes, we propose that our department will work with other departments within the city, such as the Department of Transitional Assistance and the Department of Workforce Development, to help place these people in new positions or into future careers, and made sure that we would review any city programs for unemployment support so that all members of the staff have benefited from this RIF policy implementation. After ensuring that our process would fall in line with all RIF policies put into place, our reorganization process followed 3 different standards to pick which staff would be maintained and which staff would be let go, which includes standards given by the OMB office, the various position types, and the recommendations made by Assistant Director Alex Vanetta. As you will see by our final decision, we did follow the 5 standards given to us by the OMB office. This included the insurance of the 8.5% reduction in our total budget, the elimination of 6 selected classifications, the elimination of only supervisory positions, an increase in staff to supervisor ratios, and allowance of new positions by following through with defined classifications already given. Here are the affected positions whose roles will be deleted based upon the new OMB standards. For our transition, we changed Alex Vanetta's position to business manager from assistant director, keeping him at the same salary and in his similar role within the department. We moved Janice Brock from a secretary 3 to a secretary 2 of similar salary standards. We moved 4 of our members to other positions that you'll see later, and eliminated 2 due to other reasons such as overage positions or behavioral issues. The second step for the reorganization team was to review the various staff positions that were either filled by non-regular staff members or were vacant, and to find out which ways we could ensure that the department still ran smoothly with changes in these positions. Non-regular positions included temporary staff members, overage staff members, probationary staff members, and appointed staff members. Here you can see the non-regular staff positions within our department. Purple representing our appointed positions, who we are both keeping. Yellow representing our temporary positions, who we are also keeping to ensure that both these positions maintain efficiency and standards as we transition. Blue representing our temporary positions, who we have eliminated their positions based upon the recommendation of Alex Vanetta to remove word process operators, but place these staff members in new positions. And green representing overage, which you will see in our final choosing that some did maintain their staff position, whereas others were eliminated completely. Seen here are the vacant positions from our previous fiscal year. It was determined by the transition committee to either fill these vacant positions due to necessity, such as the risk manager position because of the city council's recommendations, or due to the fact that the unit needed some extra support and we could now fill the position with staff members whose original positions have been eliminated. However, we have added some vacant positions and left some of these vacancies still blank to ensure a smooth transition into the next fiscal year. Our final look into the transition process was maintained around the recommendations given to me by Alex Vanetta, as I have not had any experience in this department with specific staff members as of yet. What we were really looking for were those who had problematic behavior or incompetence and must be eliminated to ensure a smooth transition, as well as extra suggestions from Alex himself, including, as we heard before, the elimination of the word processing unit, along with other employee requests and the reduction in advisory powers. Basing our decisions upon these restrictions as well as the standards placed before, we have identified a new, more efficient organizational chart for the FY 07-08 year. This new organizational chart includes the loss of 7 positions to equal to 58 total positions from 65 last year, which equates to a reduction in salary of $228,990.96, which is a 9.7% cut in total salary costs for the department. It also reduced the number of supervisory positions from 36 to 23 in order to maintain a more fluid and more efficient department, and this is a 36% reduction in the number of supervisors. Seen before you is the final decision made by the transitional team for the FY 07-08 organizational chart for the Human Resources Department. It follows all standards given by OMB, as well as ensures that the recommendations given by Alex Vanetta are met to their highest standard possible while maintaining an efficient and dedicated group of staff members. You can see these transitions do reduce many of our supervisory roles to all flow through singular positions. Our vacancies have increased, but they are vacancies that are still maintaining an efficient standard for our program. And our 3 overage positions are still kept, as well as any other transitions you may see, including Janice Holt being moved to become a benefits assistant, since she did want to be with Fontaine Cole, and Max Ellington being removed from a administrative oversight position so that he can focus on his technical skills rather than his lack in administrative skills.
We now move on to expenditure adjustments. Expenditures considerations have to be made between the previous fiscal year and the upcoming fiscal year due to the changes of the organizational chart as well as the termination of several employees. Adjustments can be fairly assumed and accurately projected due to the decrease in personnel. Many of the expenditures will remain the same. With that being said, the changes that do occur can either be positive or negative.
Due to the fact that staff changes and the number of staff will not affect all systems, our transition committee did review the expenditures that are pertaining to the entire department and not to individual staff members, and decided that these expenditures you see before you will remain the same going into the next fiscal year, as they are not affected by the number of staff we have on our department. Based upon city standards, we know that all employees receive a flat benefits package worth $4,500 per year for each staff member. As we eliminate 8 staff members from our department, we stand to save $36,000 total in benefits from our budget. This will decrease the cost of total expenditures for benefits from $293,000 to $257,000. As the number of staff will decrease between the 2 fiscal years, we in the transition committee have felt that the telecommunication costs will also expect to see a marginal decrease due to the lack of overall communication from the number of staff. Our hope is that the reduction in force will drop spending towards telecommunication by about 10% or $2,000, which would drop our total budget from $20,000 to $18,000. The one expenditure that we do believe will increase for the department is the amount of money we need to put for travel and training. Under the new organizational configuration, 8 employees will be working in new roles within this department. With these new positions, there will be the need for additional training on top of the standard training that is already administered to ensure that the transition process and that their filling of the new roles is as smooth and efficient as possible. We expect this additional training to account for about $600, increasing our travel training expenditures to $4,850 in the upcoming fiscal year. Based upon the recommendations made by the Transition Committee, you can see before you a chart explaining the total projected costs for our expenditure budget for FY 2007 and 2008. Based upon the differences of the expenditures we have considered that will need changing, as well as the expenditures that are remaining the same, our projected revenue increase from the 2 years will be $37,400, saving that money to help ensure that we meet the RAF policy of the elimination of 8.5% of our budget. Once we apply all of the standards, changes in the organization, and changes in our extra expenses for the Human Resources Department, you can see that there was a drastic decrease in the amount of funding needed for the FY 2007-2008 budget for the Human Resources Department. In total, between the decrease in salaries, benefits, and telecommunications, and even accounting for the slight increase in travel and training expenses, the Human Resources Department cut $266,390.96 out of our total budget, which resulted in a decrease of 9.77% from the previous year. This follows the standards given to us to decrease our overall budget by at least 8.5%, with wiggle room in case of future budget cuts that need to be made. We hope that this presentation meets all of your standards, and we look forward to hearing any recommendations you have for any possible adjustments as we move forward in the process of accepting this budget for the FY year 2007-2008. Thank you.